Hello, welcome to another Becoming a Modern Man. We are playing Monument Sisters, and this is our final game of our league. So far we are 1-3, unfortunately, so we've not had a terribly good run. This doesn't look like a keeper to me, nor does this. Malta 5 is not a great way to start, but I'm not sure we've got a lot of choice here. Okay, I guess we'll keep this and pitch the land. I guess this is a hand. He's going to Thought Seizers now. Inquisition. Not a great start. So, yeah, kind of hoped for better. Yeah, as I say, 1-3. We beat Rakdos Arcanist. Then we lost to Tron in a not very close game. We played against Thopter Foundry combo deck, which was pretty tight actually, but we didn't end up on top. We played against Rakdos Goblins as well, which was interesting, but ultimately we were unable to win that one as well, although that one was also very tight. Looks like we're playing against the Rock here. It's not done anything too exciting so far. They are going to take all our cards from our hand though. Losing Monument is pretty upsetting. Not really where we want to be. After our Malta 5, taking 3 discard spells. It's not great. Eos is not a bad way to try and recover, but would rather have something we can cast immediately. But I suppose this will have to do. Which our opponent is not really up to it a whole lot. Second Scavenging Ooze. Already no creatures in the graveyard. So we'll get our last Hallowed Fountain here. It's just going to eat some stuff. Try Chefnet Dunes. So Ranger can come down here. Get a couple of. So we'll get one of each just in case there's a Maelstrom Pulse or anything from our opponent, which could realistically be a card that they play. So there is a legitimate reason for avoiding running out both of the same. I guess we take the trade if our opponent attacks with both. Obviously it does increase the size of one Scavenging Ooze presumably, but there's any reason to take 4 here. There's a Squadron Hawk, which isn't a bad draw. So Soul's Attendant into Soul's Warden. So losing those Aketras monuments was bad for us. Would be nice to have them here, but see how the game goes. Obviously, we're going to be gaining quite a bit of life as things stand, so we might be able to grind out our opponent. And they do seem to have stalled a little bit. Abrupt Decay, killing one of these Soul Sisters. Seems fine. And I guess we'll just take 4 here. Or 5, I suppose, if our opponent decides to eat the Soul's Attendant in Graveyard. Interesting that they didn't. Okay, so they're going to Thoughtseize a Hawk. Guess we just get in here. We play the Hawk. We should set they miss Veil Plains just as a way to shuffle the Hawks back into the graveyard. Back into the library. It's a slightly awkward card, but would give us a way to sort of reuse these Hawks. Turns out our opponent does have a Maelstrom Pulse, irritatingly. It kills our Hawks. We saw. I guess we can play that. Oops, didn't tap blue. That's really irritating. I guess we could attack for 1 there. We'll do it anyway. And then it untaps this Soul Warden, but I don't think we're going to be using it to block anyway. Sky Missile's actually a legitimate threat here. Actually not one that's going to last very long, it would seem. It's not really added a lot to the board, but I suppose we are in danger. We've got a treetop village to contend with as well. So another Hussar. Guess we're going to have to block with our Soul Warden. Can't really see this going our way from here. It's unfortunate because our opponent hasn't really done anything other than cast a Scavenging Ooze. Well, 2, I suppose. So, I guess we jump here. Also, the Chew, not terribly useful. I think we're just going to wrap it up. I can't see us getting back into this. I suppose we could draw Path to Exile, but it's not realistically going to be enough. Our opponent got a Treetop Village, which they haven't really used very aggressively, interestingly. So what do we want in this matchup? I suppose Path is probably quite good. We could play Rest in Peace. Presumably they've got Tarmogoyfs and so on. They do have ways to answer it, but yeah, I suppose that seems decent. Thalia seems quite good as a way of just taxing their removal, etc. But I don't know if we necessarily want 4 copies. And what to cut? I guess we'll cut a Lion, given that it's unlikely that we're ever going to get to just go off with it, given how much removal they generally have. Force of Virtue still seems good. Sar seems a bit slow, but flying over for 4 is actually surprisingly effective, or would have been surprisingly effective, haven't we been already quite far behind. So maybe cut one of those. And we don't need that many resting pieces. Monument seems important for this. Well, I mean, it could be really good in this matchup. I think I'm just going to cut a Virtue. Go down to 3 Force of Virtue. See how we get on with that. I would like to play first. This is somewhat interesting. Certainly the lack of land is potentially problematic. We can gain a lot of life from this hand, and then potentially locks it on. I don't know, I don't really like where we are if we just don't draw a second land. We are going to be on the play here. Gonna mulligan. Okay, so that works. I think we'll keep this. What we're going to send back. I think we send back Force here. Yeah, I think get rid of the Force. And see how we get on with this. Maybe the Soul's Attendant. Pass the turn. It gets fatal pushed, unfortunately. Second land is nice. I'm going to play Thalia. I suppose it doesn't really work very nicely with this monument that we've got going, but I guess we'll see how we get on. That Confidant comes down. Conquistador here. Draw 3 cards. Let's make these bigger. We'll actually see what we're doing. Okay. So I've got all 3 of those. Let's swing with Thalia. Some pressure on our opponent's life total. Inquisition off the top. Not really what we want to see. If you can get rid of the monument, that'd be pretty irritating. I mean, maybe we shouldn't have played the Thalia, I don't know. We did force our opponent to tap down just to cast Inquisition. So they're going to Fatal Push, that's nice. If we can draw a land here, we're going to catch his monument and actually get some value. So we could path the Confidant. I just really want to stick this monument, I think, and see if we can get there with that. Although there's a good chance our opponent's just got an answer to it. Confidant off the top is not a bad thing to see. I don't think they want to run multiple Confidants at the risk of killing themselves. There's Inquisition, so they can take the white main line to stop us just going off with the monument. They can take the path to protect their Confidant. So yeah, they're going to take the lion. I think it's logical. Less logical when you're going to blow up the monument anyway, but there you go. So do we want to path Confidant now? Yeah, I guess so. Let's draw a lot of cards off that. Let's give them a bit of mana advantage next turn, but I think that's fine. Let's get some Squadron Hawks out. I don't know, this matchup doesn't seem to play too nicely. They've got a lot of cards that are very good against us, like Maelstrom Pulse and Assassin's Trophy, which deals with Monument. Like the cards that we expect to stick and keep on the battlefield are not necessarily good enough in this matchup. When it's on 10 though, we do have ways to grind them out. It's kind of irritating to be aware that an opponent can just wipe all our Hawks are out with one spell. Inquisition takes another Squadron Hawk. Double Inquisition makes both Hawks. Force of Virtue is a nice one. I guess we're just going to cast that here. Swing for 4. Force our opponent to find the answer. And so there is a risk that they just find Maelstrom Pulse though. Scavenging Ooze is also a bit irritating, given that it can eat a lot of the creatures in the graveyard. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 creatures in my graveyard currently. Collective Brutality. Takes that down. Another Force of Virtue, which we're just going to hard cast. Get in for 3. So we might be able to pull this one back. So our opponent's got quite a lot of fodder for the Scavenging Ooze currently. Which might prove problematic. Monument is nice, but we don't currently have any creatures to go with it. I feel like we're better off just playing another Conquistador and waiting until we draw another land to go with this. Swinging with the Squaddy. We're down to 2. Open the Conquistador. That's the turn. If we can draw on land next turn, and then we can double Conquistador and make a bunch of 3/3 tokens. But he's going to gain quite a bit of life here. But they don't really have any good attacks, I don't think, still. Like the double block is very much on for us on any of their attacks, unless they can remove one of these guys. So there's 2 more creatures in the graveyard. So I suppose they can make an 8/8. So we double block and trade. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, they can actually get bigger than that. So 6, 7, 8. So we can make a 9/9. Can they kill us from there? No. Guess we just let them have it. They'll take 7 next turn. I attacked with everything. Got land. That's not a land. This is getting slightly awkward. Another conquistador. You want to find a land to go with our monument. Maybe we should have dropped the monument earlier, I don't know. Still a risk that our opponent just has Maelstrom Pulse as well. Field of Ruin is fine. Opponent has exhausted the graveyard of creatures now. Actually, the last card in their hand is Confidant, right? I believe so. So they drew another Confidant and they never actually cast it to memory. We do know their last card. That is also not a land. Oh, but we can cast it for 1, so that works. So Kentra's Monument. Play out Thalia. Make a 3/3. I guess we could swing with everything. Fairly confident their last card is Confidant. I suppose they can block with Treetop Village. Does that change anything? We're just going to play it safe. Swing with the Hawk, put them down to 3. Hopefully don't draw a Maelstrom Pulse. Yep. Okay, so we got there. Nice. Right. Any changes? I don't really think so. Maybe we want to bring in the 3rd Rest in Peace. It would be pretty nice against the Scavenging Oozes and the Tarmogoyfs that we've seen. But I don't know that we want to compromise our game plan too much around that. Maybe cut. I don't know. Thalia seems good, but then it's also slightly awkward with Oketra's Monument and bringing in Rest in Peace. Force of Virtue did a lot of work there. Maybe Monument's a bit slow. Maybe Force of Virtue is just that bit faster. I suppose we actually hardcast it for the most part, but yeah, no, I think Monument probably is better on the whole. Range is a good value card. I think we'll stick with how it is. I'm not fully confident, but we'll go with it. This hand's awkward as well. So we draw a second land, we're in good shape. We've got a turn 1 play, we're on the draw. I'm going to take a risk on it. May live to regret it. Often do. But I'll take a chance on this hand. It's got action. And we only really need to find a land in the next couple of draws for this to work out. And gets rid of Squadron Hawk, which is fine. There we go, so we do get the land. Happy days. There's no real reason to get Hallowed Fountain here. Confidant, obviously not ideal. And drawing more cards than us. Never great for us. Just don't really see a good reason to Hallowed Fountain. I think we're off preserving our life total, I think. Go for the trade here. Yeah, I guess so. Don't think they're going to take it. There's Assassin's Trophy, just a nice answer to Aketra. Actually draw a card on upkeep potentially. I don't know if we're better off just attacking though. I suppose it depends what our opponent plays. If they drop a Goyf or something, then obviously we're not attacking anyway. Scavenging Ooze. Can attack through that. So I suppose it depends what we want to do this turn. Quite far off casting Loxodon. We could 3. So we can cast the Loxodon, tapping both our guys. Which isn't the worst. Yeah, I don't think we're going to Hussar this turn. Hawk is decent. Let's see. We can't Monument, we can Squadron Hawk, but I think... Yeah, maybe Squadron Hawk's better actually, just given that it's going to get some value into our hand. We can fly over with it. It doesn't set us back on an attack this turn. Okay. Let's do it. So, attack with Thalia. Not the best use of our mana necessarily, but let's restock our hand. Oh, we did lose a Squadron Hawk earlier, so we're only getting 2 here. And we'll pass the turn here. Land off the Dark Confidant, which obviously good for our opponent, not so good for us. Obviously want them to be hurting their own life total as much as possible. For another land we can Monument into a Squadron Hawk. Get that immediate value. Obviously we know that there's a Assassin's Trophy waiting in the wings. I just played that Blooming Marsh. What's this? Haven't seen any Planeswalkers out of our opponent. This could be one of them. Fairly standard for them. Okay, no, they're, oh yeah, of course, Thalia taxing things down, so they're draining us and killing off the Soul Warden. Slightly interesting. We'll take 2. I would have traded with the Confidant for sure, but let's see. I guess we might want to draw a card here, just to make sure we hit our land. It's Path to Exile. Okay, so we didn't hit our land. Drop, unfortunately. think we probably want to get rid of Confidant sooner rather than later. Maybe do it on their draw step. I've miscalculated that because we've got Thalia in play, haven't we? Okay, that wasn't the best of plays. We could have got rid of Confidant. But I suppose it would have cost us our turn. Draws a Confidant off Confidant. Up to 13. Some Prot steals with the Squadron Hawks, which I guess is fine. As fine as it can be. Really want to draw a land, so I'm not going to crack the Strand at the moment. It's not terribly good for us. Let's get rid of the Confidant. Which maybe we should in last turn. Swing for 2. We need to find a land in a hurry, so we can monument. We are aware that our opponent has an answer to that waiting in hand. We're at 11 now, so it'll be interesting to see whether they want to replace their Dark Confidant or not. I mean, they certainly have ways of regaining life. There's 4 aura creatures in the graveyard at the minute. Okay, that's a big problem. It depends what they're going to name, though. Presumably they're going to name human. They've already killed all the Hawks. Warrior is an interesting choice. I guess this is what our Aketra makes. Fine. Okay. So we are in quite a bind at the moment. And Aketra's monuments cost 4 because of Thalia. Thalia is becoming a bit of a problem as well. So, what do we want to do here? We can just make a 4/4 and Venerate Loxodon. I don't know, we're being taxed more by Thalia than Thalia is taxing our opponent, and I think that's a big problem for us. I'm going to crack this Flooded Strand finally. So, best play here, we can Conquistador, we can just cast the monument for no real value, in the hope that our opponent just then destroys it. Cast Monument here and see if our opponent is willing to Assassin's Trophy it on our behalf. Or whether they think that Plague Engineer can protect them sufficiently. Fatal Push comes off the top for our opponent. Do with some Soul Sisters here, really. Just to keep our life total nice and high. Hex Drinker, that could become problematic. Doesn't trample though. It does have protection for everything, okay. That could be problematic. I can gain a lot of life from the Scavenging Ooze. It's really going to offset the Dark Confidant. Kind of irritating that we never found our Rest in Peace. But I suppose we only ran 2. It looks like our opponent's going to leave us with our Ketcher, at least for now. Which might pay off for us. So we can certainly rebuild our board somewhat. I suppose the question is, if I path, will they respond by destroying Oketcher's monument? The answer is probably. I guess we'll see how we get on. Actually, they can't trophy with 2 mana open. That's the point. Thalia is finally doing something for us. Thanks, Thalia. So Fatal Push kills Thalia. Path takes out the Engineer. We can then cast Conquistador, make a token, yes, let's get these guys into our hand. We can play Squadron Hawk. We've got any Hawks left? No. And then we can Loxodon for 4. Make another token. Pump all our guys. Obviously we are slightly risky life total. That has helped us rebuild our board. So let's trophy in the Loxodon. Here's another land. Bush. The token, and yeah, I guess that will do it for our opponent. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we're only on 5. Yep, so that'll do it. Unfortunately, we are going to get got here by Hex Drinker and Scavenging Ooze and Dark Confidant. It's pretty close, it has to be said, but yeah, unfortunately, not the great result for our leagues. 4 losses, 1 win. Certainly they were very tight games, and maybe if I had a bit more experience with the deck I may have played a little bit better. Overall, actually let's see if we can get the deck up. Say overall wasn't the best experiences with this deck. I've forgotten what we called it. Monument Sisters, was it? I'm struggling to find the deck. Okay, never mind. Yeah, it was an interesting deck. I think it could probably use a little work. It's certainly very fun once it gets going, but it can also be very frustrating when you just draw very poorly. Not everything comes together the best, and there's not a lot of momentum to the deck. I suppose this is the list. So you can easily just draw the sort of the poor man's side of your deck. A couple of Soul Sisters and Squadron Hawks and things, and not very impressive. Particularly important against decks where you need to be fast. Like there is no fast speed for this deck really. It can overwhelm the board, but it does it in a slow way. So matchups like Tron are pretty awful, just because you can't win quickly, and it's all about swamping the board and gaining sort of incremental advantages. There's no real great combo. I suppose White Main Lion plus a Ketcher's Monument is sort of a Thopter Foundry style combo, but obviously not good enough to go all in on, and therefore doesn't come up all that often. I thought the deck was fun. I think it's not terribly good, but I did enjoy trying it. It did get quite frustrating though, particularly on MTGO. There's a lot of triggers and things, and particularly when you get into silly battles about board presence, things can be very difficult. So the Goblins matchup and the Thopter Foundry matchup were kind of annoying. We basically timed out to our own Soul Ward and Soul's Attendant triggers. I suppose we did kind of lose those games, but at the same time we also kind of lost to the fact that it was just difficult to stack our triggers all together at the same time when we had so many. So yeah, I'm not in love with the deck. I think it's fun for a mess around. I think it's probably fairly budget friendly, given the cards that are in it. There's nothing overly expensive, so certainly worth a try if you want to try it out. It certainly can do some pretty ridiculous things and make fairly huge board states once it gets going. But yeah, I think our record wasn't terribly good, but certainly close. We could certainly improve on that, I think. But yeah, it feels a little underpowered as a modern deck, and I don't know exactly what could be done to improve that or make the deck better. But it was certainly fun. Force of Virtue was a lot better than I thought it would be, and it's pretty interesting in this deck. And I like the idea of getting Squadron Hawk and Legion Conquistador to sort of make the Force of Virtue pretty much free. I think the sideboard could maybe use some work, but I'm not entirely sure. I mean, Elixir of Immortality I don't think it's going to come up very often, but I suppose there are some matches that can go long. Yeah, I think I'll condense my thoughts in my article, but yeah, the deck was entertaining. It was good fun, but I think it's a little bit far off from being super competitive in the current modern metagame.